Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm playing a tank that is so problematic or probably overpowered inside the game that Wargaming refused to sell it. It is, of course, the EBR 75 FL10. This vehicle is a French wheeled premium light tank, and it was the first wheeled vehicle inside the game, and luckily enough I actually have one on two separate accounts, including my Plays for Free account, which I'm playing today, an account which I never spend any money on. And immediately some of you might be asking, well, how do you have an unobtainable vehicle for free on the free-to-play account? Well, the fact is, this vehicle, when it was first released in the game, was actually in a mission marathon, would you believe it? And that allowed you, if you sweated like a bit of a pig over about, I think it was 10 or 11 days, for roughly, depending on how good you were, about 30 to 40 hours, you could get the vehicle for absolutely free, and it also came with a zero-skill Brothers-in-Arms crew. Now, these days, Wargaming very rarely give you Brothers-in-Arms crews, and also they want you to kind of like sweat like a pig in their battle passes, and then also spend gold as well, right? So yeah, the days of kind of, should we say, really hardcore sweating inside World of Tanks for completely free vehicles are a lot rarer than they used to be. This account actually has a Borask, a TS5, a CS52 lease, although you can get that for bonds now, EBR 75, Renegade, 122 TM, although you can get that for bonds now. Man, when I think about it, it's so painful to think that each of those vehicles kind of cost me 30, 40 hours of my life, and now you can just pick them up for like 8,000 bonds. I would far rather be able to claim those 30, 40 hours of my life back and be able to spend some bonds, please, Wargaming. Thank you very much. Although, you know, you don't know whether something is going to be outrageous or whether something is going to be, it's just going to go into the bond store, right? And in the case of this one will never go into the bond store, and Wargaming don't even sell it. Now, one of the reasons probably why they don't sell this vehicle is not only because it's outrageous. I mean, look at this. It's got this perfect 1-2 mag. It's probably the highlight of the vehicle, apart from the fact that it's ludicrously quick and it has really good camo, so it can be problematic like that. What the key strength is on vehicles like this and vehicles like the Borask are 2 shells delivered quickly. Now, the reason for that is because if you can deliver 2 shells quickly, you get extra things like module damage, which allows you to roast the other vehicle that they never sell, the BZ-176. And also, it allows you to deliver those 2 shells and then pull back and then reload and then not expose yourself again until you're unspotted. So, the kind of like the magical 1.5 seconds intraclip reload that this vehicle has is the time that you can either launch your 2 shells before your opponent actually has time to react, turn their gun and shoot at you, or alternatively, you can easily link the 2 shells in within your opponent's reload. And that's just what's so crazy about the EBR, and what's so crazy about the Borask, and what was so crazy about the VZ55 when that thing used to have a 2-second intraclip reload, able to deliver 980 damage within there. So powerful that Wargaming just decided that they had to nerf it. And when they did, well, they didn't exactly completely kill the VZ55. It's still playable, but it definitely destroyed everything that was special about that vehicle. So, Wargaming, 2-shot, low intraclip reload, autoloaders, be careful in the future when you decide to make any more of them. Otherwise, we might have more vehicles that you can't sell inside the game. Now, irrelevant of how good this vehicle is or not, man, this game is absolutely blowing off for a light tank. We're up to 4,000 damage in the first 4 minutes of this battle because we've had kind of like the ultimate opportunity. We've got into a position where no other tank could with the speed, which again, one of the highlights of this vehicle, having that inside the speed mode like 83 kilometers an hour top speed limit. And so you can take these positions, you can get into them, contest them, and then use them to have angles on your opponents that they can only dream of. And then use that to be able to keep your team into the game where other tanks just simply couldn't. 4,400 damage, yet we're down by a kill, and we're actually dead even on hit points. Man, this is one of those games where World of Tanks dreams could be made. Absolute World of Tanks dreams could be made. So I'm trying to think to myself right now, what other vehicles are so overpowered that Wargaming just don't sell them? So Su-76I, that tier 3 Soviet tank destroyer, the one that nearly got away from me through no fault of my own in the most stupid black market mistake that was swept under the rug by Wargaming for an entire year. The Panzer 5-4, the tier 5 German premium medium tank that I believe was actually one of the pre-purchase bundle rewards. Outrageously good. Having a Panther hull down at tier 5, I believe with preferential matchmaking, god tier ramming capability, fantastic armor that a lot of people just auto-aim at, and then you ricochet and they don't shoot at the actual weak point, which is the turret. They also don't sell, of course, the EBR, and they don't sell the BZ-75, although we just roasted one in this game. Yeah, EBR's got to be king, right? No. BZ-75 because of that 800 alpha damage. And those are pretty much the only tanks that I can think of off the top of my head that Wargaming actually just flat out refuse to sell, probably because they're either incredibly toxic for the matchmaker or just overpowered. Another problem with the EBR-75 is that it kind of like just ruins frontline. Well, it doesn't ruin frontline, but yeah, it has an incredibly toxic impact in frontline, especially in the kind of situations where they just open up a front because the attacking team has just pushed down one single front, and then the EBRs kind of just like spread out and then go get behind the objectives, and then players have to waste their entire time driving to be able to go and stop the EBR from just finishing the game in the first few minutes. All right, big moment here. We've got up behind the Super Pershing. We fire one shell, we fire second, and luckily for me, the S1 doesn't roll any higher. The Obsidian gives me a thumbs up, saying thank you for getting him out of harm's way against the Super Pershing. And we've definitely got our work cut out for us here. I'm now down to a 78 hit point. One shot for the enemy team. Got to worry about the artillery splashing my way as well. And because I'm on the free-to-play account, well, I do have fancy equipment that I've invested. Why wouldn't you invest fancy equipment on this tank? I'm not using a premium consumable. And this, ladies and gents, is by far the biggest difference between the pay-to-win account and the free-to-play account. Is on the free-to-play account, I never use premium consumables. And when you're playing a vehicle like this, the loss of that like 5% view range is sometimes just impossible to be able to come back from. Look at my view range on the minimap. That's with Bond optics. That's with Bond vents. And I can tell you, I have a very good crew for this vehicle. I definitely have situational awareness. I definitely have recon and brothers in arms. But not having that extra 10% crew skill, which basically results in a flat-out 5% increase in the view range overall to the vehicle, I just don't have that extended view range to be able to catch my opponents at decent distances. Luckily, if they're heavy tanks like this Carnarvon, they have terrible camo rating, and even then I can still be able to outspot them with my incredible camo rating, which still is 4.6% base when I'm firing. So with the concealment crew and all of the crew skills on the vehicle, that's probably going to give me about 12% camo or so when I'm firing on this tank, and that is not bad. But I'm starting to get rather nervous about the fact that the enemy team have 4,200 hit points, because my team only have 1,000 now. And also, I'm starting to run dangerously low on ammunition. I've got 13 rounds. That's about 2,000 damage. And then if I penetrate all of my HE rounds, there's some heavily armored vehicles left on the enemy team. Then that's probably about another 1,500 damage. So I'm really starting to get to the stage where it's going to be impossible to be able to win this game without the support of my Obsidian, or alternatively without the support of the T832. And so I don't want to waste these shells, so you start to see me being a little bit more defensive on my ammunition. And while we had that kind of like 4,000 damage in the first 4 minutes of this battle, things have definitely slowed down. And I've just got to wait for my opponent's mistakes, especially with the hit points that I'm on. And right now I'm expecting, if I had ammo here, I'd just be blind firing the Panther II. And considering he left the cap circle, I'm thinking he's in this kind of area driving towards the T832. But we can't be sure. Maybe the Panther II could be at the back of the cap circle as well, which I'm having a look over, thinking that he could be there as well. So again, 3 APCR rounds, 10 heat rounds, and 6 HE rounds. What's going to be the best way to spend them here? Well, this is where you start to hope that your opponents have taken a few shots outside of render distance, and maybe that the S1 has been blind fired a couple times. So I'm going to aim at this Panther II, and I'm going to mark the position where they are on the minimap. I'm going to fire once, ricochet, fire twice. ricochet, I guess. Didn't even reset the cap circle. And so I realized, okay, look, sitting up on top of the hill and sniping isn't going to work. So let's go after it the best we can. I see an S1, I see an IS-3. They do spot me. I'm trying to get down this slope as quickly as we can. And we see the Panther 2 is using the 75mm gun on that vehicle. So he's going to have an incredibly good reload. And with 78 hit points, that's going to make me even more nervous when I'm engaging them. I tell the T-832 I'm going to help them out, but they've been stunned by artillery, meaning their view range is going to be poor. I'm going to go in, bump into a Borsig like an absolute potato there, but at least it looks like we've got a bit of pressure on this Panther 2. So I'm thinking about making my way there to work the bushes, but then I see that the S1 probably spots me, and so I decide to drop down. Now I've got APCR rounds loaded, and we can see there an orange chance of going through the Panther 2. I can see that he's ammo-racked, which might actually give me a chance to be able to link my 2 shells in before he reloads, and that is where Eagle Eye, which is now designated target combo skill, is just so useful. We finish off the Panther 2, think about making my way up, see the T-103, and then unfortunately the IS-3 spots me from above. The IS-3 misses me, and it's just time to let the chips fall where they may and just absolutely pray in this game, boys and girls. And this is where, you know, EBR up on the hill, that stage is done. Now it's time for some chaos. It's time for some luck. It's time for some magic wheels, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to take this clown car right towards the enemy, drive right through the soft building there, finish off the T-103, put myself up to 6 kills now with 3 vehicles left on the enemy team and 3.5 minutes left. Oh, artillery! Luckily thought I was just towards the other edge of the building. And now with 7 heat rounds left, I've got to deal with a IS-3 on 1,000 hit points. Again, I'd be firing in these kind of situations if I had enough ammunition, but I really need to make these shells work. So the IS-3 spotted there. I'm going to get towards the back of the cap circle, see if I can maybe try and engage the IS-3, but I'm also worried that the S1 has gone and flanked up here above me. I say, help me in capitals. Help me in capitals. But the Obsidian I see is actually locked in a duel with the S1. Seeing that the IS-3 has actually made his way over towards the west there, probably thinking that I'm going to go down the 1 line for the artillery, I am going to instead go and try and help the Obsidian. I'm going to try and communicate with my team, asking what is the S1's HP to know about how much ammo I had to spend on him and whether the Obsidian was going to win the duel. And considering I see that the Obsidian is on 32 hit points, I'm going to let the Obsidian know that I'm going to help them out against this full health Swedish tank destroyer. Alright, so Swedish tank destroyers, they don't really have that good armor, but it's only flat from the back. But I'm thinking that he's probably going to be aiming at the Obsidian. So come around the corner, spot the S1, put 1 shell into his butt, 2nd shell into his butt, 500 damage. That's some good use of my HE. There's a tiny chance that we might be able to come through this. So now pressured, the S1 is going to make an aggressive play towards the Obsidian, who I hope is going to just continue to kite him. But now we end up in an awkward situation. The sirens go off, 2 minutes left, artillery's on reload. I don't want to drive out in front of the S1, so I'm going to just try and create the best angles I can. But I realize with 2 minutes left, I've just got to go for it, guys. I just got to go for it. The S1 misses. The Obsidian's going to get the back of the S1 now. He'll be able to finish him off before I reload. Good stuff. Now it's time to find that arty. So I kind of remember that the artillery shell came from the K1 area there. So I'm going to go immediately, as quickly as I can, after this K1. We're now on 6,600 damage and that top gun. And I'm going to load heat, but I should be loading HE probably right now to be able to go after the artillery. I say, come, help me, and the Obsidian seems to be just dawdling right now. The IS-3 spotted it at a distance. I'm going to need the Obsidian creating a crossfire there, and I'm just hoping that this artillery is going to be here. He was here a minute ago. Let's get these HE shells in, and I'm kind of worried a little bit now. Is this artillery going to be sitting in a bush with a camo net and be able to spot me and shoot me down? But the artillery doesn't actually seem to be here unless he's completely behind the rock. And man, 55 seconds left on this game. We're going to reload some heat rounds here, and hopefully both of these will go into the side of the IS-3. I fire a blind shot there. We saw the IS-3. The total hit points on the enemy team was 1,269. Hopefully when the IS-3 appears again, we'll have a little bit of blind damage on the IS-3. If we see that hit bar at the top, it does. We did penetrate that 200, and the IS-3 misses. I've got some opportunity now to reload those heat rounds, go for the front hull. There's 1, there's 2. Where's this Obsidian? Please help me, Mr. Obsidian. And with 25 seconds left on the game, I realize the only way I'm going to do this, I've got to kill both of the tanks because a draw is a loss of both teams. So I'm going to take my chances, drive towards the IS-3, hope he sucks, and then hope that the artillery would be behind him. Unfortunately, ladies and gents, boys and girls, it didn't work out for me, but I tried to create a win condition there. And I felt like the only way was that maybe the artillery was more like this kind of area, or the artillery was more like this kind of area, and maybe I could drive past the IS-3, bait him into getting shot by the Obsidian and shutting down the arty. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. The Obsidian on my team, they tried their best, but wasn't active enough in this battle. And I don't know, was I active enough? I felt like I pushed it to the limit, really, in the EBR 75, and with pretty much about like 7,400 damage here. What more can you ask for a tier 8 free-to-play light tank? So an ultra painful draw here, but one of the highest base experiences for a loss that I personally have ever got. That's 1,289 base experience for a loss. If you were to include courageous resistance into that calculation, that would have been a 1,933 base experience win. As this is a premium vehicle, we also make 221,000 credits profit, as we didn't waste the heat rounds willy-nilly. And if you've ever wondered what a light tank pretty much does, a good tier 10 tank damage worth of impact, that would be 45,000 WN8. I could pretty much go AFK in my next like 14 games and still be a super unicorn with a round like that. And unfortunately for my Obsidian, 1,500 damage at that stage of the game just needed a little bit more. And bizarrely enough, this was actually the third highest damage game of all time that anyone has uploaded in the EBR 75 onto the What Record website. And it's by far the most frustrating thing about playing on the free-to-play account is to think, hey, if I'd had that extra 5% reload accuracy, aim time, intuition switch time, the view range amongst all of the other statistics that the premium consumable improves, would I have been able to win it? But on the other hand, that is what's great about playing the free-to-play account. Because if we can have results like this without paid advantages, then that's where the real opportunities for glory stand. But who am I kidding? I'm playing a filthy clown car, EBR 75. Absolute terrible vehicle for the game, and I'm very happy that Wargaming don't sell it. Although I do worry now with Wargaming introducing tier 11 tanks. Are they going to think that tier 8 doesn't really matter anymore, and we're going to see these overpowered tier 8 vehicles go into the store for some quick cash? It might happen. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this disgusting EBR 75 round. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, if any of you are those tank collectors out there, what vehicles do Wargaming not sell that you want to get your hands on? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.